Hello and welcome back again, folks. This is the broom style elm tree that we did at the beginning of the year, and employing the techniques that we did, you can see the results. I intentionally let it grow like this to kind of help with the expedition of healing around the large wound that was made in the form of a V-cut. And now it's time to start selecting the branches, because some of these branches are starting to get to the size where if we don't take them out now, there's going to be a nasty bulge where the branch once was, and it's not going to look right once it's healed. You need a nice smooth transition throughout the branches, and if you leave the branches on too long, you're going to have a bump, and then transition and bump, and transition and bump. It's not going to look quite as natural. So today we're going to select and keep the main branches that we're going to use as the main structure of this broom style tree. So let's get to it. Okay. So I've done all the necessary rough trimming to the tree, which is nothing more than figuring out and weeding through all these hundreds of shoots that have come up in this cut section, like Chinese elms love to do. Weeding through all the small ones, trying to find the big ones that are in the best locations and save those for consideration. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right side that are really good candidates, and really on this side I have 2 that are good candidates. There's a back one here that may or may not be. This one here I believe is going to have to go to save for this one. This one here is going to have to go, which leaves me with these 2 here to decide which one to keep, or I might keep both. Depends on the final design of the tree that I'm wanting to go with. I'd like to have 3 main branches possibly, or 5 at the most, to use in the final design, and then build the ramification off of those. So we're going to look at this a little bit more and do some more trimming and make our final decisions. But before we do that, we're going to do a quick 360 on the tree, so you can see it from all angles before we make the final decision on the branch selection. And we will be back shortly. Okay, here we have this finished phase for this tree. I was going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on either leaving it 5 or 3, and spun it around about 400 times trying to figure out which side I like is the front better, and that's actually what made the deciding factor for me to keep these 3 branches, is the fact that it looks good from both sides as the front. This is one really good Nabari here, a little bit of wiggle at the bottom. Kind of follows a nice line like these. Even though it is a broom style tree, it still has, you can see some straight up and down, but you can also see your eye kind of comes from the trunk up this line really well, and this line really well also. If we spin it around this side, it looks as good as well. Almost the same thing opposite. We have this as number primary front branch, secondary back branch, and secondary side branch. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this tree continue to grow unhindered for possibly this season and next season. These have been growing really fast this season. I'm going to keep pumping the fertilizer to them, and we'll see what happens. They're growing a lot faster than I thought they would. Now, instead of having this big mass of foliage for these roots to feed, it only has these 3 primary branches here, so hopefully that'll accelerate the growth of these as well, and I think it will. I'm pretty confident in that. But that's what we have for now. I believe this is going to be what used to be the old back, and this is probably going to be the new front. I'm going to be bringing this branch over this direction, bringing this one somewhere in this general vicinity, and then this one here will do the same. You get the idea. We'll worry about wiring. I'm going to let this do its thing for a few months, and right before these harden up for good, which will give me enough time for this wound sealant to heal or to dry over and become hard, I'll wire it to shape for the basic, just this basic outline on each tree. So you give the branches a little movement, maybe set it so some of these secondary branches that are already starting to form on these are in the general direction they need to be. So we'll put this one back outside and let it do its thing, just like it did its thing before. We cut it, and after we cut it, and we'll come back and visit this tree again, maybe in another 4 months or so. I believe it was January or February when we first did the cutting on it, maybe even a little bit later. These trees are growing so fast it's hard to keep up. I'll have to look in my diary as to when we originally did the work to this tree. But there you have it. And we'll see how it goes from here. Thanks for watching.